I think there's a lot of things there that we being me, crew, pacers, the whole picture when it comes to running 100 can be improved upon. And I think there's a lot of exciting things from a micro aspect, or looking at the trees as opposed to the forest, in that race. And yeah, Run Rabbit is very a race very close to my heart. It was my first 100. I have 3 finishes there. Have seen some steady improvement on that course.
It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. I've had a fantastic day. So I'm gonna let Robbie do some introductions here, because I feel like if I do anything, it's gonna go out the window. So Robbie, why don't you just take it?
Oh, you're going to throw me the rope, huh? So I can fuck it up.
I should have given you a warning that I was gonna do that before I did.
That's all good. We're in this together, right?
Yeah.
Well, today our guest is Taylor. I'm going to mess up this last name. Horowitz?
Close enough. Horowitz, but
Horowitz. Oh, I bet you got teased a little bit with that one, huh?
it's all good. It's all good.
From Death March Running Company. We had him on, I don't know what episode that was. I'm so bad at knowing.
That's probably been about a year ago, I would say.
Oh, I think it's been almost longer than that. I was trying to think about that earlier. I think it's been 15 months, 18 months almost. We were pretty young.
Yeah.
As a company, not as a person, but as a company.
That's
we're pretty
yeah,
young
you're
at
not
that point.
young. You're not young.
So no, I got all the gray hair coming in. You know?
Yeah. Hey, what happened to you had like a real sweet stash, and then you went away from the stash and went to the beard, and I feel like you got to go back to the stash. That's
yeah,
where
I
it's
know.
at.
Robbie and I were talking about this before you hopped on, and it's beard season, man. As soon as it starts to cool off, got to stay warm. Like I hate wearing a buff.
Does it make that much of a difference?
Yeah, the beard's quite warm, especially when it gets a little bit longer than this. But we're getting to the season. Like this morning, it was 25 degrees or so when I headed out on my bike. Helmet, no hat.
That's like shorts weather.
Running wise, absolutely. On the bike with the wind chill, it's
yeah, no, I do. I get that. Yeah, that's a little chilly on a bike.
But the face stayed warm, which is great. Hands, on the other hand, like my hands aren't that sensitive, but man, this morning they got beat up a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah, bike, it's crazy the difference in running in the cold and biking in the cold. That's a way big difference. You know what I've realized is the stuff that you would wear in like 20 degrees riding a bike works really good for like negative temperature running.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really does.
I had thermal tights on, I had pants on, I had a thermal layer, a sweatshirt, and I brought a jacket with me thinking I might need to, throw a puffy on, but kind of just toughed it out a little bit. What's the old saying? Be bold, stay cold, something like that.
Are you training for anything, or are you just kind of maintaining right now? Or
yeah, what? No, right now I'm training for the Black Canyon 50K, a little bit of what I feel is like a redemption race for me at this point. When we were on last time, I believe my leg was still like actively broken at that point. I don't think I was healed. So yeah, it's been a very long time since we've been on, because that would have been early 25 or early 24. That would have been. And then I went to Black Canyon 50K as my first race back. In my mind, I was, well trained. I thought, the confidence wise, mentally speaking, I felt like I was ready. Looking back on it, physically, I was not ready. I didn't have enough volume. I didn't have anything. Like ran really hard through Bumblebee Ranch, which is about 20 miles in.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, and
you could really haul ass in that section and then blow up after that.
Yeah, and I was starting to have some hip issues. My right hip is a little funky at times. Usually in high effort situations, or in the late portions of a training block, or really like when I'm tuning up for 100 and that volume's really high, my right hip gets a little sensitive. and coming out of Bumblebee,
Apparently he was having some internet issues.
Yeah. He'll break right in and not even leave get the story still going.
He left.
That's weird.
and there it is. We said we were going to have
Yep.
technical issues this time.
Told you. That's weird. You're still here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never left.
You know,
There you go. There you go.
let's figure out. You guys can hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
So I'm not sure what issue is then. And kind of lost the mental game there.
Yeah, we can't hear you very well. Is the mic still on your headphones?
Let's see. Is that better?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Can you
Okay.
Can hear you
we
perfect
can hear you now.
Not technology. Blame it on Al.
Did your headphones?
No, I lost connection, and then audio's coming through the computer speakers, so not.
Yeah, you
We'll
can
be all
fix
right.
it if you need to. We got time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
do
why
your thing.
it's
We'll just take.
Why
I
it's-
mean, we're still recording, but we'll just take all of this out. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, just go down
Sweet.
to that mic icon and you can fix whatever you need to fix. It's down to the bottom
Speaker
next to
too.
Mark
I
Clip.
think. I think the speaker
Yeah.
thing will too.
it's cleared out.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, sorry.
grayed out.
It's speaker.
Yeah, if you hover over speaker, it'll tell you which one you wanted to change it to. You can change it to your headphones,
Let's try this through here. All right, that's better. Here we go.
or if you need
Got
to
it
back out and come back in. Okay.
Yeah, no,
cool.
we got it back now.
You
So, before we got disconnected, I was gonna say, coming out of Bumblebee, kind of lost the mental game there, and threw myself an hour-long, probably pity party, maybe longer.
At Bumblebee?
And coming out of Bumblebee, so coming out of there, there's that's like where you hit the first kind of climb, and then it's rolling kind of in from there. That's like where all the elevation is after that. And so threw myself about an hour-long pity party. Was, thinking back on the training going into it, at that time, like mid-race, and just like realized I put myself in a position to not succeed really, in the way that I thought I had, which kind of killed my spirits a little bit more. Eventually got to finish. I think it was ran 50K PR. Seeing as 50K is a distance I really struggle at, it's not that surprising. But headed back there in February, kind of for some redemption there. Having that being the first race off a major injury, and having how fast that race is, how fast the course is, how fast the race goes out. Not logistically, but tactically, in terms of year planning, may not have been the best idea, but it was fun for a few hours, and then it was kind of a mental struggle. So I'm looking to go back and perform quite a bit better. The kind of fun thing is there's a guy I train with. His name's Shad. Justin, you might have met him down at Javelina. He was
I know Shad.
Currently pacing somebody down there, and well, I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible, but Shad is a monster. Like, he is a fucking psychopath. Like, the guy turned 50 a month ago and just ran 237 at CIM. Like, he is insane. Like, and I joke that I want to be like as quarter cool as him when I'm 50. That's the goal. But he's going down to race it too, so it'll be fun to have a buddy down there that I'll likely be chasing, and have that as a little bit extra motivation when some of the dark times hit. So that's almost full training focus right now. It's the first kind of, if we look at the way I have my year planned, in stepping stones to bigger goals in the later portion of the year. Black Canyon's playing a pretty specific role in those stepping stones, and in how I'm coordinating and organizing my training in my year, which I'm taking a little bit different approach, and testing some hypotheses this year from a training and a year planning standpoint that could be argued slightly atypical from like traditional mindset of training and ultra approach. And I think, Justin, you and I had some differing opinions on some race scheduling in the year, not related to me, but here you're giving advice one way and I'm giving advice the other way. So it's pretty.
We'll have to talk about that offline, because I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, obviously we come from our different perspectives and biases, but my hypothesis this year, and the guy I generally refer to as my coach, but he's more of my main training partner, that we just talk training philosophy and kind of have, as much as we have like a friend and running partner relationship, it very much has looking at the training schedule, workouts, those types of things together. And we're looking at an approach that him and I have been discussing for years, that the goal is to stay injury free and be able to perform at a level in which we think is closer to potential, than just trying to go out there and log millions of miles and put a lot of impact and physical stress on my body. Come to the realization that I'm fragile.
Yeah.
So yeah, that that first goal of Black Canyon, the intent there is to build some legitimate speed and try and get that speed stimulus built in a little bit. That I wouldn't say it's been lacking the past few years, but it is something I had moved away from when I stepped up into like 1500 range. And also I think this is an interesting thing to consider from race planning. Again, Dylan, who I refer to as my coach, he says like, do what excites you quite often. And I'm excited about a lot of these like kind of shorter, higher intensity efforts this year. So that's the long-winded answer. So yeah, I'm training for Black Canyon.
Did you mentioned that you struggle at the 50K. Why do you think that is?
Probably the reason a lot of people struggle in shorter distances, like burn really bright and flame out. I haven't figured out the fine line of flying towards the sun but not getting too close. And looking at back on specifically this past year of racing, and really the past couple of years of training and racing, I've really started to learn how to run more on feel as opposed to being married to like paces. I've been, as much as possible, trying to ignore my watch. Like I turned off the auto lap. Like I can't deal with it beeping. I never program workouts into my watch. Like having that feedback is kind of detrimental, if you will. And I think there's definitely schools of thought on that, right? Some coaches, from what I've read and observed and heard, feedback from friends and other runners, is a lot of coaches really use a lot of pacing as kind of benchmarks and proxy for effort. But what I learned this year more so is what running paces feel like and what can be sustained for different periods of time at different perceived effort. And that has its pluses and minuses, because some days perceived effort, like if you're tired and feeling shitty, like your brain gets in the way a little bit. But at the same time,
I think a lot of people get paces and rate of perceived effort. They think they're one and the same, which they're not.
No.
And ultra runners should be training on rate of perceived effort versus pacing, because
100%.
A lot of these races we're going to go out and race, like it's not a flat course, it's a trail. No. You don't really know, and I get this in marathon too, but you don't know what the day's going to throw at you. Mm-hmm. You don't know what the trail's going to look like. There's a million different factors that the road runners who train based on pace deal with, and we don't. And so I think a lot of times it gets associated, okay, well, my RPE 6 is this pace. Well, that might just be that pace that day. That's going to change the next day. And so I 100% agree with you. And when I program workouts for my athletes, I don't put any paces in there. I just put time frames. Like, I want you to do a 20-minute warm up or whatever it is. I know Cody or Taylor, you don't like, was it you and Cody that were like, 20 minutes is enough time? But
yeah, I'm clunky. Like, to feel good, it takes like a solid 45 minutes.
Yeah, but building an hour workout, 45 minutes of warm up wouldn't work. So, but so I just build like 20-minute workout, then we do the actual workout, and then 20-minute cool down or whatever. Right. But I never build out in pacing. I always build out in perceived effort, or I just give them a time base and say, hey, we're looking for this, because like you said, if we're doing 1-minute hill repeats,
Mhm.
that may be that 1 week to the other, that's going to look completely different. So,
100%. And
but yeah, you're right
they,
on. You're right on point there. But I
yeah,
think people associate pacing or paces with the perceived effort. Like, okay, well, last week I was supposed to run a 5, and I thought that an 8-minute pace was a 5, and so
yeah, I was out running with my buddy Sean on Friday, and he's coming off an injury. He raced a Crested Butte 50K, his first 50K, and apparently this ultra thing's harder on the body than people want to make him. His foot's banged up, but it was the first time we've been out on trails, and we were kind of just, we hadn't spent much time together recently, and we were running, chatting, kind of just, what we would consider an easy run, and we got back and both like uploaded to Garmin and then, by default to Strava. Both of us were like, holy shit, like that was way faster than either of us. Like, had you asked us what we'd ran, we would have been like, that was probably like 9-minute pace, the entire run, and averaged out to 8 minutes. And we're like,
wow.
So point being is, perceived effort is, on trail, it feels a lot more valuable. So translating that into this plan on this 50K is getting used to what those efforts at the higher paces look like, feel like, and kind of learning that now in this training block specifically, which is, our friend Melissa goes, man, you're really fast. I'm like, yeah, but it's not that fun. It hurts a lot. My lungs are on fire. And
It's like going on a 5K every other week. It was like,
yeah,
it's blazing and going.
but to the point, I think you can't learn that RP if you don't push the limit a little bit.
I kind of want to move into you running Run Rabbit Run, and that's kind of when we were talking at Javelina, you said you kind of have this goal of doing it 5 times, and or is it more than 5? I can't remember. I thought it might be 5, but
the immediate project is getting the 500-mile buckle there. Since I saw you at Javelina, there's been a slight, I want to say, like, mind shift change, not mind shift change. I think I had mentioned Dylan was kind of giving me the feedback to do what excites me. And not that Run Rabbit doesn't excite me. I think there's a lot of things there that we being me, crew, pacers, the whole picture when it comes to running 100 can be improved upon. And I think there's a lot of exciting things from a micro aspect, or looking at the trees as opposed to the forest, in that race. And yeah, Run Rabbit is a race very close to my heart. It was my first 100. I have 3 finishes there. Have seen some steady improvement on that course. It's a very great put-on race, charity race in Steamboat. It's nice that race fees, things go back to the community there here in Colorado, and things in that I really appreciate. So yeah, 3 finishes. Right now I'm in the field for 2026. I'm reevaluating that entry at the moment. Not that I don't want to do it, but something's come up that has piqued my interest a little bit more than that at this point. But yeah, ultimately the goal at Run Rabbit's getting to the 500-mile buckle. Having 3 finishes there and kind of seeing the progression from 22 and 23 and then into 25, because I missed 24 due to injury. That progression and growth, and looking for marginal gains, kind of in something that is comparable year to year to year, is very attractive. As I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten into, let's go with a habit or an appreciation of doing the same things over and over, to give you benchmarks and in terms of kind of where you're at. The familiarity also allows you to be able to get through hard parts, because this is only this far away or this long away. I only need to go this far till pacer, those types of things. And that's really intriguing to me still. But that said, I'm reevaluating if I'm going to stay in the field here for 2026. Right now, it's the plan, but that may get switched over to Kodiak 100 and Big Bear.
Nice.
So Kodiak's intriguing to me for a number of reasons, and we can get to that later. But in terms of Run Rabbit, yeah, thank you for bringing it up. I love talking about that race, and I love giving people beta on it. And I really feel like I know it like the back of my hand, with 3 finishes there. And it's been a fun race because in 2022, I went just under 28 hours. In 2023, I went just under 26 hours. And then this year, I went 23:50, so just under 24. And this year was, I'd say, as close to as I've gone into that race with the plan and executed on the plan, which, again, those kind of micro goals and the progression of incremental improvement and things really play to my advantages here in terms of being able to plan for the course, for to an extent the weather, and really attack it more as a race and try and race it as opposed to try and finish it, which was really exciting. And kind of the fun anecdote from this year that I look back on and is ridiculous, and can't help but laugh at. Talking about knowing the course and the race and those types of things and planning for it is going into this year. You basically start on a service road and it bottlenecks onto single track. And then you go straight up the ski slope to the gondola. And I didn't want to get caught in the bottleneck. I knew that was going to be a trap from previous years and then from spectating in 2024. It's early on. It's like within the first half mile of the race, but still, that's not a position I felt like I wanted to be in to start the race. So I started, at the ribbon on the front under the banner, and was like, I'm going to try and move towards the front and be towards the front there and just keep on moving. And I'm running up the service road, and a guy with the camera from, I'm not sure who, was running next to me. He's like, how's it feel to be leading the race? And I was like, well, I feel like a clown, but somebody's got to do it. And then, there's a couple switchbacks up the service road, and my pacer and friend Veronica was there taking some photos, and she was like laughing at me because I had a gap on the field to start the race. And I, talking about perceived exertion, it felt like I was just out for, an easy Sunday run at that point. Like I didn't feel like I was doing anything stupid. And then got on the single track, and 2 guys, coincidentally, that are local to me here in Colorado, came up, and, we're doing the kind of first day questions. Who are you? Where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
How many hundreds have you run? And they were both running their first 100. And I was like, you guys seem like you want to haul if you want to go through. And they're like, no, your pace seems fine. So I ended up being the first one to the gondola, which I got there and I was like, that was the dumbest thing I ever did. Like I just burned all my matches in the first 4 miles. Like, what a stupid idea, Taylor. And we got on the road, and I backed it off, got some nutrition in. I think to the aid station from there's like 2 or 3 miles, and I was 4th or 5th through the first aid station. And was like, man, I need to figure out how to play this really smart from now on, because that was dumb. It was like not the brightest idea I've had ever. So, I just kind of ran what I felt like was pretty casually down to Fish Creek, got in a little group of guys descending down Fish, came in through there, I think in like 7th. And then something that I had not experienced in any 100 I've done was I hit a super low point coming out of Fish Creek Falls, like mile 20. Like I had mentioned, 50K, I kind of go out hot and blow up a bit. And the thing I really appreciate about hundreds is you have time to figure that out and bring it back. And I was solely focused on one goal, and that was going sub 24. It was sub 24 bus for me this year. And I was going to Fish Creek, and I'm hiking. I'm looking at my heart rate. I'm like 180 heart rate hiking. And I'm like, fuck is going on? Like this, did I really just ruin my entire race by being full ego? So I sat down on a rock, texted my crew, texted some other friends. I was just like, this is a horrendous idea. And then eventually got my mind right that I could figure this out while I was moving. I didn't need to sit on a rock and figure it out. And rolled into Long Lake from there. Carl Meltzer is there, and Scott Jurek and Scott's wife, Jenny. And they gave me some tough love. Basically told me I was doing everything wrong, which, from 2 of the OGs, you kind of got to take seriously. And another runner helped me out in that aid station and got out of there and kind of got back on plan, which was great. Had some good movement from there to Summit. weather was good at that point. Got into Billy's. They didn't have pizza this year, which I was really disappointed in. Like previous years, they had fresh baked pizza at the aid station. And this year, no pizza. I was a little upset.
Dang.
Quesadilla is close enough alternative to the pizza.
Quesadillas are always the number. They're always it. They always hit.
Yeah.
They do. I've been again, knowing a race and like knowing some of the nuances and intricacies of things. Like that was like a goal, is like get to Billy's, get a slice of pizza, and then we're good. Some of those micro motivations. That's all it takes sometimes. And then from there, it's kind of a slog into Dry Lake. And this is what everyone knows about this year's race, is not so long after that is when the weather rolled in. So the hair field got decimated because they were up high when the rain and the cold came in. The beauty was I was running fast enough and far enough into the race where I was losing elevation, so it was warming up, but it was nuking rain. That was fun. I enjoyed the rain. Everyone else kind of hated it. But that was a pretty enjoyable part for me, actually. In the rain, like I was done being hot. I was pretty comfortable. I don't mind being wet. I don't mind having wet feet. A lot of people get bothered by those two things, but I get really bothered by being hot. And to that point, I had been hot most of the day. So that was a good reprieve. And so I get close to Dry Lake and I hop up on the road.
What
and there's
mile is this at?
This was mile like 44, 45. And I hop up on the road because there's a little bushwhack section, and then you hop on the road and there's one crazy person standing in their jacket just in the pissing rain. No one's around. And I'm like, who's this crazy person? I remember having this thought, and is this gal Lindsay I ran my first run rabbit with, who I've become friends with, and she's a monster. She smoked me in 2022. She just set the course record down at Saddles 100 in Arizona. She's awesome. And when I realized it was her, I was like, this is great. Like I needed a friendly face before I came in the aid station and saw my crew, because I was kind of in low spirits there, and that kind of helped bring me out a little bit. And then we got there, grabbed Pacer, and it was funny because my mom's like, what do you need? And I was like, 2 caffeine gels in to get going. So I ripped some caffeine, and I ran down into town, had a good run there. Get into town, grabbed another light, and I was switching Pacers in town, and my Pacer wasn't there, and I was like, I'm going to go. He can catch up. He can, run a race to catch me if he wants. He was in the toilet relieving his bowels. And he came out just as I was ready to leave. And we went up Lane of Pain, which is, I don't even know, like 1,500 foot climb in a couple miles on Howson Hill. And we got there, took that section, looking back on it a little hard. And I kind of went back into a low spot. The rest of the time he was pacing me, which was, I felt bad because I was kind of an asshole for a couple hours. And then as we're coming back into the Olympia Hall aid station, we're about half a mile out. He blows his ankle up, like right in front of me. Like,
dang.
It's like,
oh no.
And I was like, shit, like there goes my 24 because I'm gonna walk this guy in. And he's like, go, I'll be fine. So I ran in and immediately go in the building, and that's runner and pacer only. Crew can't go in. And everyone's like, where's Austin's pacer? And then come out, I'm like, I dropped my pacer, we're good, let's go. It's kind of addicting to say, but is my race, and
yeah,
I was mentally in it, so I was ready to rock and roll. And Veronica took me back up the hill, and I'm crushing caffeine gels like no other. We run up the hill and we're getting towards the top. And funny story from that, one of the hares, I think it was who ended up getting second place in the hares, came up and I let him through knowing he was racing for money. I'm not. Like, he's potentially 20 grand on the line. Like, sure, go ahead, I don't care. But Veronica was pacing me and thought he was me and took off with him because she was in front. So she drops me. Which, I again, knowing the nuance of course and having the familiarity was great, because I was like, we're a mile from the aid station, no big deal. She eventually figured it out and came back, which she still feels bad, which is It's great.
You just
I
need to
love
hold it
that.
over her head the whole time.
Yeah.
When I pace her, I'm gonna use it as a relentless joke. Don't you worry. Um,
I got dropped by a pacer as well, pacing somebody else at Bighorn.
yeah.
My pacer was way down the mountain, and I was just like, well, I know where I'm going, so we'll just figure it out.
You know, that's half the fun of it, right? So yeah, we get back to Dry Lake, which you hit previously, and then the trail deviates back from there, back up to Billy's. And that's where I grabbed Dylan, who's paced me the previous 2 times from that section all the way to the finish. And like I said, he kind of coaches me, and we know each other very well on how far he can push me and how much I can take from him, like emotionally. And so we're running down the first section of trail, super runnable, great trail. And I go, I've been trying to run this effort all day. And I was like, right now, this feels like 11:30 pace. And he goes, do you want to know what we're running right now? I was like, not really, but sure. He goes, 11:25, you're bang on, let's go. So after like a mile and a half, 2 miles from there, you hit the grouse climb, which is technical. It's the crux of the race. It's very demoralizing, especially if you're not feeling good. As good as you can feel 70 miles into the race, 75 in. But again, Dylan and his great pacer job and the camaraderie that him and I have built over the years of doing a lot of things together. He pulls out his phone. He's like, I have every split that we've run on this course together, like from here to the finish, and we're going to beat every single one of them. And he's like, you know, Don Reichel on the high-low broadcast said that I was the mean pacer, because I was pacing our runner this year in. And like the goal of that, in my opinion, is like you just got to get him to the finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Dylan's been really good at for me. And he has every split of basically the last 50K of the race from each aid station and every notable kind of landmark. And he's like, we're going to be every one of those this year. And so we got up the grouse climb to that aid station like 20 minutes faster than we ever had. And the best part of it is we were chasing some headlamps in the distance. We caught them like at the top of the climb, ran with them for a little bit. And as we're coming into Billy's aid station on the inbound, Dylan's like, what do you need? I'm like, I need to run through the aid station. We're not stopping. And so we go in, give the number, and like, where's the exit? And they're like, you're not staying? I was like, no, I need to keep going. Which was nice because we passed like 7 or 8 runners, and that was a good mental boost too, just knowing that I had it in me to be able to keep going at that point. And then from there to Summit's like 4 miles, 4.5. And we got another 20 minutes on our best time between those, which was cool. And then from Summit to Long Lake, where Meltzer and Jerk are again, is a super runnable section, of course. Like you can move fast on it. And historically, I've really enjoyed that section. But this year, man, did not enjoy it. I was having trouble with my lights. I couldn't see. I played soccer with every rock on the course. Like my toes were banged up. I was at a low point. I was hurting. Dylan was yelling at me. And at that point, I started looking at my watch, which, as previously mentioned, is something I try and avoid as much as possible. And I kind of thought 24 hours was out of the question at that point. And then I really started to get in my head and kind of lose the excitement for the day. Like, you guys know how it is. Once those negative thoughts creep, they kind of snowball unless you can head them off. So we get to Long Lake, see Meltzer and Jerk, and they're like, oh, you look way better than the last time we saw you. I was like, it's great news. Happy to hear that, guys. And that was the first time I had been there in the dark again. Every time I've been there is after sunrise. So it was cool to be there in the dark and get moving. And from there to the top of Mount Warner, which is the final aid stations, like 9 miles and 1,200 vert or so. Like it's not a walk in the park by any means. Like I'm one of those runners that I really prefer my pacer in front of me most of the time. Like I don't like having him behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened. Maybe Dylan had to take his jacket off or tie his shoe or something, but I got in front of him, and that snowball that had melted of negative thoughts somehow disappeared, melted, got put in the pocket. I don't know. But I ran more of that section than I'd run in like any previous year and just kept on moving, kept the feet going. And I think part of it was I realized there's still quite a few hours left. We can make something I'd been really looking forward to for like 2 years happen if I stopped crying, and really kept going. So yeah, ran a lot. And the sick part about that section too is the 50-mile starts. So you start seeing the 50-mile runners. You get amped up there. Saw one of the guys on the DMRC team. Saw one of the guys that I went to college with that rose some spirits, and was good. And we got to Mount Werner, and I was like, God damn it, now I have to go downhill for 3,000 feet, And as Dylan put it, whoever decided that should finish the race, like, should be tried for war crimes. It's not a friendly way to finish a race, but run 10K downhill should be doable in 75 minutes. And some of my like favorite parts of the entire race were from portion downhill. Like, I called Cody and I was like, it's done. I'm coming in under 24 with like 4 miles to go. And like called a few of the people that I run with that have been following things, and was like, all the training's paying off. This is really cool. And that was really fun to share with, some other people while that was going on. And then the funniest part, which most ultra runners I think would laugh about, something super minor potentially derailing your day. We get close to the bottom, and again, knowing the nuance of the course where it goes, well, there's some construction. So they rerouted the last like mile and a half, and we're kind of confused. We thought we got lost. But then I had to pee really bad. Like, I wasn't going to go finish and all excitement to finish and then like piss myself. Like, I was like, though it would be great for photos, I just didn't have it in me to do that. So I was like, we're going to stop and pee and then work our way to the finish. We have time. Well, my T-band was bothering me that whole descent, stopped to pee, and it was just like locked. And I was like, great, we have a mile to go and I can barely walk. Like, this is great. And thanks to reroute, there was an uphill. So I hiked up this short uphill, and that loosened it up enough, and then came down, and yeah, that was it. Something that I thought was possible but didn't quite know if it was actually achievable, happened. And yeah, it was pretty cool, and was super rewarding to know that, the work put in, not only in the training, but with the crew and following the crew plan, and the pacing plan, and everybody kind of aligning with what needed to be done, paid off. I feel like those days are kind of rare, and especially in hundreds, they're super rare. Now you figure in Run Rabbit alone, there was, between the tortoises and hares, there's like 450, 500 runners. And I bet a small fraction of those could say that their day went as close to plan as they could have imagined, which is, I'm pretty thankful about that.
That's cool. That's cool. Hey, before you started talking about, the Run Rabbit this year, you mentioned a little bit about how you like the data,
Yeah.
of years combined. And you talked about maybe not doing it this year because do what excites you. I kind of have somewhat of a similar saying. I say, do what scares you, because, then you're challenging yourself. And it's kind of the same, being scared is an excitement type thing. So do you think that possibly, even though you like the data, you like to build off of each other, do you think that Run Rabbit has become a comfort for you?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I hadn't really thought about it in that manner, but yeah, it almost does feel comfortable. This is going to sound super egotistical, but I know I can do it. I know I can do it fast.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can go faster. I know there's time on the table, but you're exactly right. The comfort level of it isn't as exciting as it potentially could be, with taking a year, maybe 2 years off, and going and learning some lessons at other races. I think the value of switching it up, and I used the phrase with one of my friends today that the body responds to variation, and I think the mind does as well. And kind of looking back at this year, going to San Diego 100 earlier in the year, and some of the struggles I had at that race, and not knowing the course, not knowing the terrain, not knowing really to expect weather-wise. I got really beat up on the weather. I learned a lot of valuable lessons that then got parlayed into Run Rabbit and the success there. So yeah, I think the comfort level of it, and I don't want to say feeling stagnant, but feeling like it's just another time to do it. Like that race isn't going anywhere. I'll have time to get to 5 buckles. And I think there's lessons and opportunities to learn things and progress in the sport elsewhere this coming year.
Yeah,
for sure.
cool. I like that. That's good.
I want to say a couple things about this. Justin and I kind of have the same philosophy, one and done type thing. With knowing a course like you do, for me, it mentally beats me up. Oh, I'm supposed to be here. Oh, I'm supposed to be there. That's why I like the unknown. I'll go into a race with the unknown, not really reading much about it. Like for Leadville, for me, I'll never run it because I know pretty much every aid station, every step on that course. I've just ran it in training. It's just my thing. I know what I would do to myself mentally.
Mhm.
Now, pick a different course, like, I'm just going to use Crazy Mountain, piss Justin off. Know nothing about it. That would fuel my fire the whole time because I'd be like, I'm having a low. Let's get to the next aid station. I don't know where it's at. I don't even care. I don't even have the list how many miles away I'm. That's the way I look at things in my mentality. So it's cool to see how, different runners have different mentalities on how they plan and execute in a race.
Yeah, and Robbie, that point, again, the motivations and how you said how different runners look at things. Like San Diego was the first 100 I did without that wasn't Run Rabbit this year. Not knowing where things were, like aid station wise or pacer wise, sent me the other way. That was like full spiral into negative mindset, being like, I'm for better or worse, like I feed a lot off the people around me. I'm not super I'm fine training alone, but in the race mindset, when I get by myself, and I don't even need to talk to somebody, but just having like the presence of other humans around, whether that is aid station, other runners, other pacers, my pacer, that helps a lot for me personally. Yeah, the unknown is to Justin's point very scary. Like within the race itself, and not that it's not tackleable or not doable. It's just the mind games come to play a little bit more.
See, that would be what I would start chasing. If it was just me, like I would, you struggled at a race that you don't know. And so that to me, that's where the growth needs to happen. Like learning how to
Yeah,
go to an
absolutely.
unknown and, put everything aside and race that race knowing the unknowns. But
Yeah, and that
people love doing what they're good at. And that's, and there's nothing wrong with that. People run the same race every single year because they know it, they enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like to Robbie said, it's not my cup of tea. It's not Robbie's cup of tea. I'm not a race repeater. And so, but I understand the comfort levels of doing a race over and over and over because you just know, and it's there. It's a family at some point, you get to know the people that run it and the race directors and the aid station crews. And so like, I completely get it. It's just, I like going into a spot that I don't know. I can watch YouTube videos, but take Kettle this year. Like I watched a lot of videos. I studied the course and then I get out there and I'm not anticipating like my shirt being soaking wet before the race even started because of the humidity. And, everyone said, oh, it's going to cross country ski course. And you're like, oh, that ain't anything. But the little rolling hills are just like this,
yeah,
and it's
it
just
beats you
like,
up.
yeah, those little hills, it's only 11,000 foot a gain, but just it's constant.
It's funny. It's funny talking about rolling hills. Like when I went to Black Hills 50 in 2023, and with Alan and Cody being rapid guys, having Cody has the Black Buffalo School. He's done all the distances. He knows that course in and out. And we're studying. I've been up there a couple times just for grins with Cody, and the thing I didn't anticipate on that course is, there wasn't big ups, big downs.
Mm-mm.
Like there's ups and there's downs, but man, it was unrelenting and beat the hell out of me. That, and also you guys are familiar with the course. I forget where it was specifically, but it's that 4x4 road that gets super rutted out, like
Yeah.
deep ruts. Well, that year it rained a ton and like the puddles were swimming pools, and I slipped on some mud and dove into second base into the puddle. And I was worried that I contaminated my bottles and everything. And worried about like getting Giardia on the course and was fighting my mind in that regard. So I didn't like hydrate or take in any
Yeah.
nutrition for like 30 miles because I was so worried I was going to get sick, and, you know, was trying to follow the race plan and blew up in a catastrophic manner. But, you know, this
Yeah.
fun of doing ultra shit happens. It is what it is.
It is fun. I was there that year, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was
Dude, one
that was a
full swim,
wild
dude.
year.
I did like 3 breaststrokes. I was like, here we go. It is what it is.
Those puddles were huge that year. It's funny.
My God. But yeah, so let's talk about Kodiak for a second, and kind of that race is pretty attractive to me from an elevation standpoint. Location at 60 miles from where I grew up skiing those mountains when I was a young buck. So, you know, family can be around. That'll be cool. And then also just like the fact that Hayden went last year and ran 16 hours, you know, I think it's going to be turning into a pretty premier race here stateside. And talking about what excites you or scares you, I think that is scary in terms of like putting all the chips on the table, personally speaking. And all the lessons learned this year, probably a lot of the lessons from San Diego, more so than Run Rabbit, and seeing who shows up and what's there that day. And hopefully, you know, can be inspired by some guys that are significantly faster than the rest of us average folks. You know, I met Hayden at Western. He was at the Hoka booth signing coasters, and it was super cool. So it was cool to see that. And that was, you know, I think coming off that would have been after UTMB, right? Yeah, I think it was after your UTMB, and him going and crushing it was pretty inspiring. I was like, that's pretty cool. I think I want to try that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like
That's
like
that is a UTMB race, isn't it, Kodiak?
it is a UTMB
Yeah.
race, which I don't quite get their website. Like I
No
try
one
to
does.
change.
Yeah, no one does.
I try to change the metrics into like imperial, and it's still a metric. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
I'm like, I don't fucking know what 4,500 meters is.
You got to have a doctorate in IT to be able to figure out their website.
So, yeah, I haven't made the decision to withdraw from Run Rabbit and go that route yet. Still mulling it over. I was watching some YouTube videos last night. It looks cool. It looks exciting. And to your point, I think there's some things I can learn there. Like it's a 1 p.m. start, super weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
You know, which I think throws a new challenge. It could be a learning lesson because, you know, in October you have like 4 or 5 hours of daylight there in California, and then dusk, and then you're in the night, full night, and then, you know, multiple hours in the end of the next day, which I think there's some things that could be learned there. It is a higher elevation course. It starts like 7,000 feet, which plays in my favor compared to any of the field that really coming from lower elevation and sea level in California, which would be fun. When they're all like, I can't breathe, and I'm like, oh, do I feel at home. Singing and dancing down the trail at the beginning. And then the other thing that was super intriguing too is like San Diego, when I signed up this year, I kind of had intended that to be more or less like a hometown race from where I grew up. Like I've been in Colorado now 19 years, so I've been here longer than I was in California. But, you know, all my family's still there. Some friends from growing up that I think would enjoy kind of seeing what that looks like. Them don't really have that exposure. It would be cool to have somebody they know and be interested in. It would be pretty fun. The pressure of that, it would be another learning lesson. Having people interested is scary. Battled that a little bit this year with Run Rabbit with some of the Death March stuff and the people watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how the pros do that. That pressure is insane. Like even on a micro level, you too, Justin. Like you put yourself out there. Like
Yeah.
people are watching. It's
people know what to expect from me. So
fair enough. Like your shit was the reel you posted the other day of like pooping on the trail side. I like some of your recent ones. Like a lot of your stuff is gold, but some of the recent ones, like the sock one, oh my God, like some of it's been gold lately. Like good job on that shit. I've been laughing my ass off. And
that's awesome.
and the funny thing is, you know, now that, and Robbie hasn't met Carolyn, my wife, but now that my wife has met you and knows you, like I'm like, you got to see what Justin posted. She's now invested in your content.
Oh, I love it.
Hilarious.
I love it. I love it.
She's not on Instagram, but I make a point to share because it's funny.
I gotta step up my game for Carolyn then now.
I mean, she still refers to you as a content monster.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, that's kind of the back half of the year, and then kind of filled in between, you know, talking about Quad Rock. I'm gonna go back to the Quad Rock 25. It's local, easy with the family, and it's a hard race. It's well timed in the season. It's a hard race. It's not easy. You've done the 50, I believe.
Yeah, and the 25.
And
Well,
then
yeah.
I'm gonna go do the Never Summer 60K.
Cool.
The 100K has been on the list for a while, but with obligations related to Death March and my day job and wanting to race and everything, the fact that the 60K is on a Friday helps out my wife a lot. So that's gonna be exciting regardless. Like, I've skied a lot up in State Forest State Park up there. It looks really cool. I'm excited and scared about that one. So
Nice.
that one will be
Yeah,
fun.
that's
Kind
a
of regardless.
beast. That's a beast. Well, hey, man,
So,
before we let you go, the
yeah,
audience would be extremely mad at me if we didn't talk a little bit about Death March.
yeah.
We've
Shoot.
already had the Death March, podcast, but let me just ask some questions that some people may want to know. What do you guys got coming out with this next year in 26? What do you got up your sleeve?
In terms of product wise, kind of new designs of existing product line. So some really cool stuff. Texture wise, Cody's got some good designs in the pipeline. We're gonna update some of the hats to match those designs. There's a couple other products that we feel like are missing in the ultra world that we'll see if we can execute on it. The hard thing from the product side of things is, as much as we want this to be our all the time, everyday thing, it's still being played alongside our day job and family lives and those types of things. So some of the stuff we have planned might be in 27, but product wise, similar type stuff, but new design. And a lot of those are
Nice.
really exciting. I'm excited about that. Company wise, our new ambassador team will be announced here at the start of the year. That's cool. We have some new folks that we're excited about. Some folks returning. We adjusted the size of the ambassador team a little bit this year to improve upon some of our learnings from this year, which is exciting. You know about that, Justin. And then the other things we're really excited about is sponsoring Spike Camp. We're all going to Spike Camp. You have the shirt a custom one from this year. That's in January. We're really excited about that. That's an event we really are quite excited about. And then we're going to be sponsoring Hilo again. That's the plan. Excited about that. And then we want to do some more sponsorship, race involvement type thing. And then at some point we'll do our Death March mile, which we haven't quite figured out what exactly that looks like or where it's going to be. We have some torturous ideas, and as ultra runners like torturous things. So that'll be coming likely in 26 too. Most likely they'll start locally here in Colorado, and then we'll kind of see how that shakes out. But that's something Cody's really motivated for, and I think would be really fun for the community, at least locally.
Cool. All right, man. Last question.
Yeah,
You can be any dinosaur that you want to be. What dinosaur are you picking and why?
That's the easy answer. Hold on. I gotta see if I can find a show and tell. Hold on.
Hey, while Taylor's going to find his dinosaur, if you like this podcast, please leave us a like. Please leave us a review. Robbie works really hard on the YouTube. Go over there and give us a subscribe. Like that. Hey, if you want to get some of this sweet Death March that you see us all wearing, DMRC Justin 15 will get you 15% off on the store. So get on there, get you some sweet Death March, support a small business. These guys are ultra runners. They're running races. They're supporting you. Go give them a follow on Instagram and order some of their awesome gear. But Taylor,
All
what
right,
you
show
got?
and tell. I promised. So kind of, I assume you don't ask everybody what dinosaur is their favorite,
Yeah, every once in a while.
but I'm glad you asked me because there is a story behind this one. So there's a messenger bag company, Chrome Bags, based out of San Francisco, started in Boulder. And back in my hipster days, more so than I am now, used to ride around on my fixed gear with no brakes and my messenger bag. And this one is custom. This one was custom painted by a girl I was dating at the time. Don't tell my wife. But
Yeah,
there's this dinosaur from Land Before Time, and that's Petrie.
Yeah.
And I would be Petrie. My Instagram handle is I am Petrie.
Yeah.
Used to be the same when I was on Twitter. But Petrie, because when I was playing water polo in college, like I'd throw the ball over my head, and one of my teammates said that looked like Petrie's wing, the way my arm was. So, not an actual dinosaur, but a fictional one
Yeah,
would be Petrie from Land Before the Time.
I love it.
Would be the answer to that question.
I love it.
And we had a show and tell for it. It's perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Taylor, where can people find you? Death March is probably pretty easy to find on the
Yeah.
website, but yeah, tell us where people can find you, where they can get some gear.
Yeah, me personally, I am Petrie on Instagram, Taylor Horowitz on Strava. Both are public profiles. Feel free to follow if you'd like. Deathmarchrunningcompany.com on Instagram, or on the website, Deathmarch Running Co. on Instagram. My personal involvement on responding on that's a little bit low, but a lot of my face shows up on it. And if you want to get a hold of me on there, Cody or Al will let me know, and we'll be ready to rock.
Awesome. Well, if you like Taylor's podcast, please, like I said, leave us a comment, leave us a review, and as always, we'll see you on the trails.
All right, take